Okay, how do we do? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, so let's. Yeah, let's start building our full stack. Is there a group that wants to share their answer? All right, yeah. Will, you guys want to come up? You guys want to come up and just like sketch it out on the board a bit? Yeah. Explain the thought process.
Stage 5.
You can delete this too. What?
You want to burn? No?
What?
You can't be like
These are fun.
Yes. What are we doing?
All right.
Alright, so what are we doing? Let's go. So we're gonna have.
We have a different set of columns that we would like to use for this. Business will be the first one.
So what we have is we gonna start with trash.
For what?
Alright, so we're gonna go business.
Mm-hmm. Business.
Business.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's fine.
What's that? This is a business name.
Yeah.
Right? This is a business name, all right?
That's it.
And then they will have a business ID, which actually is going to be like the primary key.
Alright,
So business ID. Another for type of business. If the business is car rental, gym, restaurant, whatever the type of business is. Allocation. And here you put the address. We were like between two things if we're going to use a location or a zip code column, because with the zip code you can also get all the where the business is located at. So that's to use also zip code.
So this would be like an interview?
Yeah. A rating column, an interview will be used for that too. Let me say also 1 to 5, that's what Yelp's use as a rating. And a business user account ID. And that actually is a foreign key that is gonna point to where is the point? Don't remember that one?
To the users.
To the users, okay. All right. And then another one, user's ID, which is the when you create an account with Yelp, you gotta assign a user's ID, you know, and phone number. Phone number, yeah. And I think that's it. Thank you.
So it's one table.
Huh?
One table.
No, we were gonna have multiple tables, but we just finished.
We just finished. All right. Cool. What? So that's interesting, right? Okay. Well, let's dive into that more. Is there any other did any other teams want to share their layout? Rafid, I know you had your hand up earlier.
It's pretty similar to that. The only difference that we had was when it came to where we want to, I guess, organize the data even more. For the type of business, we can create a chart for, let's say, like a restaurant and gym. You want to divide this, so you would have a table specifically for restaurants. Name of the restaurants, the themed food that they have, the price, rate, whatever. And then let's say another thing for the gym. Types of gym, membership fee, whatever the information is that you want for that specific. And then you can key into each ID to see which table they would belong to.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Any other teams? Yeah. Dan Jones. Want to come up here? Yeah. Sketch it out a bit. Okay.
So we came up with 3 tables. Our first table was the user table. So the user table had a user ID, which is our primary key. We had a primary key as our user ID. The user ID, which is our primary key. We had another field for first name. We had another one for last name. And then we had one more for email. And then the next table we had was our review table, which had review ID, which is our primary key. We had post. We had ratings. And then we had a foreign key, which was user ID, which connected us to our user table. And then we had the last table, which is our business table, which had a business ID, business name, the business address, and then I can't remember what these two were. Oh yeah, start and end time, when the business started and then when the business ended. And then this is where we had a huge conversation. We wasn't sure how our business table was going to connect to either our user table or our review table. So we said we were going to connect it with the review table to the review ID. And then that's where we got it to. So this is how we look.
Cool, very different approach. Any other teams itching to share? All right, so let's go over these a little bit.
So it might feel like an easy task. Or maybe it felt like a hard task. It is hard to actually design a easy to navigate database. Right? It's like something that you really will need to practice to be any good at. Okay, so a couple things that really stuck out to me like a sore thumb. Names of tables have to be plural. They should be plural. So there should be users, reviews, businesses. Okay? Because it's holding multiple entries of those things. That's pet peeve. The next thing you might want to be aware of, right? If we're in the users table, you don't need to call it user ID. It's just the ID. If we're in the review table, it's just the ID, right? Because how could you have why wouldn't you have if it was the ID, why wouldn't it be the review ID? Same with business. This one's a little bit further off, I think. So yeah, let's dissect this one first, I guess, too. So this one is tough because it doesn't really account for users at all, which is definitely a big aspect of that and photos, right? And then we also have this rate, which is where, if we have this on the table, does a business create the rating?
The user.
The user creates it, but how? Deja?
It's a compilation of everything. So if the users give an average of whatever function is underneath there, with that amount, it generates
Yeah.
an actual rating.
So the rating is an average of where? Where would that rating live? On a review, right? Each review has a rating. So we probably wouldn't want to keep this because this would be something we would constantly be having to update on the table instead of just recalculating on a review. We don't want to constantly have to rewrite things on the table. Let's see what else. User ID, I'm not sure what this refers to. I've never been on like the business side of Yelp, but this implies that this is pointing to some specific user. I guess like the owner of the business. I don't know if we need that. We could have that. That's possible. But yeah, this one's just missing a lot of like the review idea, the user idea. So I like this one more. This is great, right? We got our ID, first name, last name, email. You could have any user stuff, birthday. I think is in the real Yelp. Technically, eventually you'll need a password, and it's always called password digest because you don't put in the real password. You change the password to look weird. You've hidden it. As well as some other things you could put in there. As far as the reviews, this is really good. Your ID, your post, I'd probably call that body. Your rating, that seems good. And then we have the user ID there, right? And then we have our business, which is pretty good. We got our ID, our business name, our address, our start time, end time. Could be a little tough since we're dealing with multiple days and whatnot. And then we have this foreign key pointing to review ID. How many reviews does a business have? One? Many, right? Business should have many reviews. So if it has many reviews, and does a specific review, does that belong to one business, or does one review have many businesses?
Maybe
Belongs to one business.
One review belongs to a business, right? So instead of having the foreign key here, we're doing it the wrong way. The business ID should be here as another foreign key. Right, it makes way more sense for a review to have the business ID, the user ID, a rating and ID, and the body. Yep.
So what's the foreign key holding?
A pointer to the ID of the business ID. That's how all of the tables can connect. So we can say, okay, grab all the reviews for this business. And so we can use that ID. And we can also see the business's information.
But I mean, like, it's gonna have its own personal ID that it's going to link to.
This ID will be identical to this ID. That's a good question. What if we had photos? Where would photos go in this next? Marvin? So how many photos can a user post? A lot. So should we put a photo thing here? Reviews?
Yeah.
Maybe. Should a review have one photo, multiple photos?
I'd say business.
Business? Does a business only have one photo? Yeah. Doug? I think we might have to create another table called photos. Okay. And what would a photo need to have? Yeah, a photo has an ID, of course. What else? What else? Okay, sure, we could use a timestamp. That'd be cool. What else would you want to know about that photo? Calvin?
What restaurant is it
The what?
for? What restaurant is it for?
Yeah, sure, right? It should have a business ID. Right, that's as a foreign key. What else would you want to know? Com?
User ID.
Probably should have a user ID. Com?
Type of photo.
Type of photo. What do you mean about that?
Menus, appetizers.
Okay.
Yes. So would that be like a tab or something? Like, could you have a section for tags like?
We could have a tag thing. Now, if a photo has multiple types or multiple tags, we're going to be creating another tag,
Okay.
which is fine.
The actual photo, the body.
Yeah, the actual photo. So I can actually say the photo. Yeah, David. Oh, okay. So that's if the photo came in as a review, or
Like if you could get attached into this review, so you have
is that? Yeah, I guess you could say where the review ID of that photo. If that's the only way to upload photos, I'm not sure. Mine's different, but that's fine, right? But you could potentially do that. You could say like the review ID that photo belongs to.
if you made a business ID and user ID for photos, does that mean you have to make another foreign key for business and users?
Yeah, these are both foreign keys.
So you don't have to add anything in users or business to connect it to the photos?
No,
Okay.
I just want this photo to be. This is already connected. The photo belongs to a user and it belongs to a business.
Okay.
This is definitely something you'll want to practice more of. And will come just from building more things. This is the schema I built when I did do mine. Or this is at least what I had planned to originally build when I... So yeah, you can see before I started my projects, I would plan a bunch of stuff. So like this was my proposal. I had my list of MVPs of like what I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to have a business page, a search file. I wanted to host it on Heroku, to review and ratings and map. I had a component hierarchy. This is something that comes later on with the front end of how I wanted things nested inside. This is essentially the page layout. I had a sample state. This is how I wanted things to be held in memory on the front end. You don't have to worry too much about that. I had built wireframes. So this is what I wanted my application actually look like. You don't have to make your wireframes look quite like colorful and stuff. I had my routes, right? You want to plan out your API endpoints. So like, what do I need? What do I want to be able to get? Get all the businesses. Get the A business. Get a photo from one business. Get all photos, right? And then lastly, yeah, you really want to draw out your schema. So for this one, I'd planned a users table where I would have my first name, last name, email, just a bunch of stuff about the users table. I had a business table. Again, like a lot of timed stuff. That was really annoying. That was kind of an annoying challenge. And then reviews, which is essentially what we created down here, right? Your user ID, your business ID, the rating. These are things that you might think belong to the business. I don't know if they do now. I know Yelp's changed it a few times, but they used to allow you to write that on a review. And so the way I did all of mine was if a lot of people said that this place delivered, then it delivered. If more people said it delivered, then didn't. So I took aggregates of all of those things. And then our photos table. I didn't do too much for that. That was an afterthought. I didn't get to the first time. Yeah. This was a couple of years ago. I built it in 10 days. Yeah. No, I built the entire help application in 10 days with myself. But it wasn't as good looking as it is now. It was just hit all of the MVPs. And then I went back and added the photographs to it. I added a better landing page. I made it look a lot better over like a month after that. But the original, like 80% of it was in the 10 days. Bless you. But yeah, I mean, planning is a big thing. I spent 2 days creating this planning document. That's not part of the 10 days. I don't know. I don't remember. It's kind of been a while. That was my final project. Okay, so now we've kind of got Yelp designed. Let's go ahead and learn how to build. We should start creating the tables to make with our own database stuff. I don't really want to recreate Yelp right now. Let's go back to our pets and users example. So first thing we need to do is we are going to create a database. So I'm going to write create database. Oops. And we can go ahead and say what we want to call that database. So for this one, I don't know, what's a good name that makes sense? Well, we're going to have pets and people, let's say. What? Grooming service? All right, we'll call it Grover's Groomers or something. Grover's Groomers. Okay, this should be in snake case if you're doing multiple words. So if by chance I don't really remember and I'm just doing this in development mode, meaning like this isn't going to get pushed to production, I don't really know if I've made this database before. I don't care if I've made it before. I want to like just start fresh. I'm going to add the line above this that says to drop database. Oops. Drop database. I'll say the name of if exists. And then I'll go ahead and just say the name. So this would be Grover's Groomers. All of these should end in semicolons. Okay, that's important. Don't call me over and have me help you debug that, because it's going to be a semicolon. Okay? Although if you do, it's okay. The next thing we need in this file is we need to say that we want to connect this to our Postgres. So we're going to say, is that a backslash, // I don't know the names. It's the one above the return. So for connect, and we'll say the database name that we want to connect with. Yeah. SSC. So I'll remind you, Postgres is something we installed right away, first day, as part of the installation. If you haven't installed it yet, no time like the present. You'll know, it looks like, what's it look like? It's like, looks like this elephant here. And up here, well, yeah, some stuff. I'm just going to skip right now, I don't care. You can go ahead and start it. You can see it up here too. If yours is stopped, go ahead and start. What happened? Oh, you're downloading the episode. Okay. I don't really have to like Google that. If you were able to start it, can you raise your hand? So I have an idea. If you were able to start it. What do you get? Updating? Alright, we'll give it a couple more minutes. So while it's updating though, yeah, Henry, what's up?
I like that. It says it doesn't want to run, and it says that it looks like I need an init DB.
An init DB. Not sure.
Oh, I don't have anything. So much more at home. You're welcome. Alright, if it's not working for you yet, we'll float around and try to help in a little bit. Okay. So hopefully you've kind of got it working. You can see, make sure to also install the command tools. You'll know if you installed things. Where's terminal? We can type in PSQL, and you should see something that comes up. If it doesn't, you probably didn't install the command line tools. Doug. If that doesn't come up, the command line tools. Yeah, it will be right. So if we go back to, let's say, day 1, let's find it. GitHub/Join Pursuit. Pursuit Core Web. Fundamentals. Local environment setup. And what we are working with is our PostgreSQL.
To install PostgreSAP, follow the installation instructions from the website and then paste these commands into the terminal. Afterwards, install the command line interface by configuring your paths like that. No, that is part of our curriculum on local environment setup. Here. Yes, I actually can Slack. That's right. I don't know why no, I'm no, definitely I can. I'm sorry. I 100% apologize. Yes, I can Slack that. No, I know. That's my bad. Oh yeah, I apologize. 100% my bad. And it is Slack. Yeah. You're welcome. So after you are able to install, we want to type in PSQL. And then you should get some prompt. It doesn't have to look like that. It can look like this. Okay, yeah. What's the error it's giving you? Okay, so yeah.
It was working, and then I don't know what happened. And then
It's a small company, right? Oh, I remember.
I ate the combo.
I can't.
I had the
Not like the whole body sugar. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well,
it's I love mochi. It's like I feel the dairy. I just was like, I'm not gonna eat that. Cheddar cheese only. I don't know, you're like, you're crazy. You can tell. Like any store was just like, this isn't coffee. I know, it's fold this shirt real quick because that's super long. Like you were do not take me to Ferguson. Matt's store. It's not oh my god. Yeah, I see. You ever know that? But then they have to see characters. You see my class I'm like, hands that are them. Transitions and stuff. Tresses.
I want a donut.
okay, I think we're close to the end.
You're still messed up?
What's wrong? Everyone's yeah. People who had that error, they reinstalled
Yep.
No, it doesn't have to be the same. They mine's probably older.
Full story. Anybody else who's still stuck? Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you. Use the shoulder.
Wow.
12.
This is it's literally a Russian.
Yeah.
I guess I used to wrestle. I used to wrestle with He still started being might be the same. The money I'm gonna do is that I'm definitely they will not. I'll probably get my ass whooped. At least I can say I'll do it.
Okay, so hopefully you're close to getting it working, or it's working. If not, keep working on it, and we'll follow along. Okay? So hopefully you got something like this. The way you exit the screen is by doing the / or /, I don't know the name of it. It's the one of the enter. What is that one called? Forward. Okay, do the / and then Q, enter, and then you'll be able to escape that. Okay, so this is all going to start setting us up for this. All right, so now we can go ahead, bless you, we can go ahead and create some tables, and again, I'm going to drop the tables if they already exist, just as like a extra means of protection. So I'll say drop, drop table if exists, and let's go ahead and make a users table. So I'm going to say users. And then let's go ahead and create this table. So we'll say create table. I'll say users. Parentheses. All right, okay, I'm going to open that parentheses, and then I'm going to immediately put my semicolon at the end of that that closing parenthesis. Otherwise, I will forget to do that. And I have forgotten numerous times. So if you forget, don't worry, but try to remember. Otherwise, you'll just be debugging a little bit, which is okay. So let's go ahead and create our columns in the table. So the first column I'm going to make is called ID. And I'm going to say that it's a serial. This means I want it to continue to increase each time automatically. And I'm going to say primary key. Hey. Yep. Yes. What else do we want for our user? Maybe we want a name. So I'm going to say name, and I'm going to say that that's going to be text. And let's go ahead and give our user an age as well. So we'll say age, and our age will be an integer or something. Integer. What? A real number. Questions so far? Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Is there a reason why the ID and why call it name?
Not that I know of. Just the linter on this. Yeah, your highlighting might be different. That's okay. I don't think I have a good SQL linter. Okay, let's go ahead and add a pets table as well. So again, at the very top, I'll just drop the table if it exists. So for that, I'll say pets. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the table. So I'll say create table pets. I'm going to add that semicolon. And so our pets, we're going to say has an ID. So we'll say ID. I'm going to make that a serial primary key. Maybe our pet has a name. Yeah. A lot of pets have names. Or species or something. Sure, let's add a species. Say that's a text. Yeah, again, you might see lots of different types that people are specifying on their databases. They're all a little different. Some are the same. Sort of like you might see varchar, like for character variant. If you don't specify a length in your varchar, because you can say that you only want something to be so many characters, then it gets treated like text under the hood, apparently. That's why I'm just writing text here. And then let's also just, I don't know, anything else? Okay, let's just pretend that a pet belongs to one person. Okay, I know we talked about a many-to-many before, but let's just pretend again that pet only belongs to one person. So in order to do that, we have to say that it's going to reference something. So we're going to say, let's give it a user ID, or in this case, I'd probably call it owner ID. I'm going to say that that's an int. And I'm going to say that it references. And then I say what it references. So in this case, it references my users table. Oops. Users table, specifically the column ID. So you can put more things in here. So let's say a person has to have a name, no matter what, right? And we don't want somebody to try to submit some form with no name and like have it get through. You can put constraints on the table here, so I could also write like not null. I could say that let's say I want every name to be unique. I could say unique. This is adding constraints to this table, to the type of data that will be allowed in. Right. Reality, you probably don't want to put unique on a name because people have the same name. You probably want a unique email though, or well, the ID is going to be unique no matter what, because it's being created by the database. Oh yeah, sure. I see. Yeah, so if you have like a special username or user ID kind of thing, yeah, that could be unique for sure. Your handle, right? I'm hip. I know it. I know the words. Okay. So there's a couple other things just worth mentioning here is when we're referencing something, so we have this foreign key. Let's say, in this example, the owner died, right? So let's say Mike had a cat named Noboru, and Mike's dead, okay? So we delete Mike from the user database because he's a dead person. What would we want to happen to that reference? So if it, as it is now, if we say like, hey, this owner ID references a user, it's not gonna let us delete Mike from the database because it will say like, hey, there's another column in the table that's using that ID. Yes, there are. Well, that's what I'm saying. It won't let me delete that user at the moment because we have a pet that's pointing to that user. We don't want to delete the pet, right? Because they weren't in the car together. Doug.
Can we use like condition like if null or if delete do this action?
Yes, that's exactly where I'm going. So we have to decide what we want to happen if that parent or whatever that item belongs to were to get deleted, right? This is like very common if you think about like if you've left lots of comments on somebody's Facebook post and then they delete their post, what happens to your comments? Right, maybe they got deleted or maybe they're in the database somewhere, but like, right. It's up. So there's a couple things we can say. We can say on delete. We can say cascade. Cascade means go ahead and off myself as well. So that I'm at cascade. Oh yeah, good catch, everybody. Right. So this means like if they delete the post, all the comments should also be completely deleted. So that is your case. Like you said, if you kill the owner, you kill the pet. Right? That's a little dark. So if we didn't want that situation to happen, for this one we would say on delete set null. So this says if we deleted the owner, this pet's ID would just owner ID would just point to null, meaning it does not have an owner. So I think for this example that makes the most sense. Actually, to also delete, like the cascading effect. So yes, so delete the post, delete the comments.
But we're not doing that in this instance.
In this instance, we don't want to kill the pet just because the owner died. So we're just going to set the owner ID to null. Any other questions on that one? It's an important differentiator. Here, I'll make a little comment, right? So, if I'll say parent gets deleted, cascade will delete children. Set to null will set the children's parent ID to null. Okay, that's how I think of it. I think of things as like parent and child. So if you belong, you're a child. That's fair. That's the visualization I use. But if you have a different one that works for you, like, go for it. So I could now also add seeds. Seeds are things I'm seeding into the database. I'm putting it into the database ahead of time so that I have data and information to work with and play with. Okay, that is called a seed. S-E-E-D. Seed data Now, the best practice for this, for me, would probably to make this into another file. Right, so I could add this into another file, but for now, I'm not going to add a lot of seed data, so I'm just going to do it here. Okay? I'll just write to add into its own file. Okay, so to add my own little data in here, though, let's just go ahead and insert some things into these tables. So I'll say insert into users, and now if I'm not listing all the columns, if I'm going to enter all of the columns in, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't say the column names, but I am going to add only the columns, because I'm not going to add the ID to the columns. So I'm going to say name and age. And then I'm going to say values. And I'm going to add the values. So I'm going to say course key, and course key will be 100. I forget how to add like multiple things right now. Let's see. There's ways to add multiple entries. Does anybody offhand just happen to remember or know? Yeah, Henry? Do I just put a comma?
Yeah, no, well, you won't have to do it all over again. No? You will have to do the insert into users and then re-add it.
No, I think I can do something like,
Values again, and then just
I still write more, I have to write values again. All right, I'm not going to, I'm just going to see if it works. It might not work. If it doesn't work, that's fine. John is, I forgot how old John likes to say he is. 16. Oh. Well, is that it? What was your number? Oh, you said 28 last time, right? All right, thank you. I was close with that 16. Half of the numbers. Okay, and then I'm going to add a semicolon. So the owner ID, this is like a little bit funny. In reality, I should go ahead and grab the user I want. I don't want to, okay. I don't want to make this too confusing. But let's also just insert into pets. And we'll say it takes in a name, species, and owner ID. Let's say the values. Let's just add one pet. So I'll say Noboru, cat. And so, okay, so at the moment I don't actually know, like really know the owner ID, right? Because the owner ID is going to be one of our users, and our database is going to create the ID. So there's a few ways to get around this, but for now, because I know that I'm using Postgres and I know what our database is, I know that it's going to give Corey or Korsky the ID of 1, because I just know that, and the next thing will give it as 2. So I'm just going to put in 1 here because this is artificial data anyway. end that with a semicolon.
So would it make sense for users to put an ID in the parentheses, or it's kind of like just the way that
Well, you shouldn't be giving something an ID, because IDs have to be unique and all of that. So our database is going to create that ID for us.
Oh, okay, so just putting one is just like
Well, I'm saying that this isn't the cat's ID.
Right,
This is the owner ID.
okay.
I know it's going to end up creating that owner with an ID of one. I'm banking on that. And other times you'll actually use like variable names to go get the ID, or like to go make a request into your database and grab the ID, and then to use that with some like programming. But we're not quite there yet. So let's go ahead and add. So now that we've got this, let's test our luck and see if it runs. So the reason we did all that like weird PSQL stuff is because now's the time. Yeah, Shia? Oh, okay. We'll say PSQL -F stands for file. And now we want to say the relative path to this SQL file. So I called it schema SQL. I'm on the root level. I'll hit enter, and it works. It says, notice table pets does not exist, skipping. So it skipped all those like drop tables because it didn't have those. And then it went ahead and created 2 tables, showed that it inserted 2 things into that table, inserted 1 into this table, and it worked. You got an error, okay?
Of course. Sorry. It's okay. You have an error. Relational pets does not exist. You put your user's name, but low your pet's name. Or wait, what's that? You have how many users? Just have some error. Somewhere insert. It can't be double quotes. Sure, I'll see somebody else.
You have the plus thing, right? No, I have the same thing.
I have the same thing.
Incidents of past and errors.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Still nothing?
Yes, please. Please. Several. Yes.
Did anybody else
This whole thing.
get us a success
Take
story?
it home.
Yeah,
Someone
okay,
take
so
it
they're
home.
all something.
I have it.
Good.
Oh my God. Take it home. Take it home.
Even after the school.
Yeah, and that should happen. Yes, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, so all that's like syntax or saying somewhere what should be single quotes. That all
Yeah.
okay. Oh, it's just type in MS. Okay.
Create table.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Name text. Text. That's interesting.
I got it.
You got it?
It was a comma.
Oh, that's a comma.
Yeah.
That's fine. For now, it has to be. Yeah, the same.
It's supposed to look like this. That's another.
I have more home. I'm giving it to you myself.
I really don't know. I'm just like,
Bro,
I
no, it automatically gets. So one is has been active, one has been active. Yeah, like 100%. You know that?
I think this is funny.
Yeah,
Was our that was like
thank you. On day one. I mean, it's working. If that works, that means it's working.
Oh, okay.
T. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go there. What was it? I don't know, I think it was just something like look at this guy walk through all time with my back.
Danielle, comment?
Yeah. You have something on YouTube.
Me neither. Yeah.
I don't know if being here. Yeah, even I don't know, maybe. Okay, I'm in the mirror having some fun. And they afford it. It's like not, but that's the most unrealistic thing. Listen, and the whole thing was so many times. Maria, living on stage.
So now you
The last scene. No, because they, I mean, yeah, I don't know. No, yeah, I think I watched it,
okay. All right, clap your hands once if you hear my voice. Okay, so we're like, where does this table exist? Right? Maybe some of us are thinking that. Well, it should exist somewhere in here. Right, so I've got this Grover's Groover. Yeah, that is cool. Okay, so there's ways to interact with this database according to the GitHub lesson, and that is that you can interact with it in the terminal via your PSQL. Let me show you what I mean. I think they do something like PSQL/C Grover Groomer. And then I'm in this database. So I can say, I could write my SQL, select star from users, I think we called it. Okay, colon, and right, I'm able to see my users table.
What was the first thing? ESQL.
I went to PSQL. I then typed in that C line that we have at the top of our file, where I did /C, and then Grover's Groomers. And then I just did a select query to my database. So here's the thing, I would consider this a little bit user unfriendly. I want you to be aware that you can access your database this way, right? And we can access this the same way we got out of PSQ last time, which was /Q. However, we can also interact with our database in another application, which we downloaded from that same link, and it's called PSQL. PSQL. Yeah, pSQL. So I want you to open up pSQL. And you should see something like this. Yes? No?
Yes.
This is like similar to our Postman, but this is for SQL and for our databases. I mean, it does entirely different things. So this is just an app that's going to help us. So from here, I can say a specific database. So let's say Grover's Groomers. And then I can go down to this blue button and click connect. If all goes well, you'll see that you have pets and users. I can make this bigger. Not letting me. It won't let me make it bigger. I'm sorry. Yeah, Marvin. Yes. This is what you'll want to use as your visual representation. It's a little bit more friendly than messing around inside of your terminal. If you love using the terminal and making queries in terminal, go for it. If you want a mad scientist it out. For everyone else, this is a good tool. What can I do with this tool? I can also, so you can see your structure, your overall structure, the content. You can change between tables here on the left. And then I can also go ahead and make queries. So I can make my queries up here. I'm sorry that this is so small. It will not let me go bigger. But I'll just go ahead and do select, let's say star from users. I can run that query, Command R. I'm missing an E. It's too small for me. Okay, I'm going to rewrite the word users. And we see the users. So we can use this to connect, right? Let's say I want to join my users and pets. Select star from users. Let's go ahead and join pets on pets dot owner ID equal to users dot ID. We'll run that query. Oh, I made a mistake. I have a D in owner. I cannot. It won't let me. I know it's super annoying. I can maybe go like this. I don't know if that will make it much bigger. Not really. If anybody happens to know how to like adjust the size of this thing, let me know. I might be able. There might be like a application setting. Yeah, that's not doing it for this. Does it work for you? On this one? Okay. Maybe I can change the preferences. Alright, well, this won't be the greatest tool for our class, but it will be a good tool for you. Alright, that's just a join table. That's kind of disappointing because I really wanted to teach a lot of joins through this later. That's something I will figure out over the break. Yeah, Shia.
So when you're doing the on, you have to say the table that you're doing and then key into that.
You're asking about the join?
Yeah, for the pets.owner.
Yeah, so for the joins, you say which table you want to join, and then you list the two columns from each, column from each table.
Would it be owner underscore ID equals to users ID instead of
It's users dot. Well, you want to be really clear. Yeah, yeah. You want to say pets dot. It might work right now if I don't put pets because there's only one owner ID, but it's always best to be very clear.
Okay, yeah, because in the vault, it didn't, like in the example that they gave us, they had the dot, whatever.
Yeah.
But in the actual, when we were in solutions, we didn't necessarily have to do that.
You should always do it.
Okay.
Best practice. Good question. Any other questions? Yeah, Farrah.
So I made a mistake and put species as one of the two owners. And when I went here and I saw it, I thought I tried to erase it, it would be okay. But
Okay, great question. So Farrah asked a question, and she says, "Hey, I put species in the owner, and really all the owners are going to be humans, so that's a little mistake, right?" So she changed it in her SQL file, and she says, "Hey, it's not being reflected in my P-SQL." So that's right. We've created this database already. You could run a migration from a different file that will alter that table. Otherwise, if you're just like starting out, like how we're just starting out, you can just nuke the database and do it again. So let's say I also want, let's say I want my pets to also have something. I'll say I want my pets to have an age, and that's going to be an integer, and hopefully I spelled everything right. I did not. Integer. E. Thank you. Yes. Yes. E. It's got to be the E. I can now have to add that to my pet, but name, species, age, we'll say is 14. It's kind of an old cat. I have to rerun that PSQL -f, and then my file that I want to run.
Why did you put it up there?
Why did I put what up where?
14. Like you didn't put it below the bottom.
Ah, right. I've made a couple mistakes. Right? This should now say age, and this should be 14. Good catch. Run it again. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. I think something that might be stopping it from working is it's going to say key name, course key exit. So the issue, one of the issues that you should be made aware of is right now this is using our database. So it's not going to like let me close it. So I have to close this first. And now I have to rerun it. Okay? Once I've rerun it, then I can go ahead and open up pSQL again. Reconnect to my Grover's Groomers. And now my pets will have that extra column. So you just have to redo it. But if you're already using an application that's using the database, it's not going to let you update it either. What? No, unless, yeah, I close it for a minute and give it that chance to breathe. Any other questions? Yeah, Brandon. How do I close it in my terminal? What do you mean close it? Oh, that after the PSQL thing? /Q. Good question. Okay, so this is just the start of our creating our own databases and tables. But now we have a way to do it. So that's pretty cool. There was a lot of stuff around it. There was actually not too much content. I don't recommend watching this video because the video is like way longer than what you really need. I'll make an update on the highlights doc with everything that you'll need. Because it's actually about 10, 15 minutes of content. A lot of that was debugging. I want to recommend a couple of things, which I know some of you saw the way I debug these. So these are really hard to debug, right? If you make any mistake. So what I often will do is start commenting out half of things at a time. So I would comment this out, save it, run it, see if there's an error. If there's still an error, then now there's an error in one of these. So it's like, okay, what's going on here? Comment this out, run it. Okay, that's fine. That works fine. So let's just introduce these. Just do anything. Comment it back in, run it. Okay, that's fine. So now I know the error is in here. Right? So then I would really carefully look this thing over. Once that works, then I could start commenting things back in, like my next table, run it. It's like, okay, cool. That works. Let's just run the rest and see if everything's cool. That makes sense, that kind of like commenting out to see if there's a bug in the code. It works for these, right? That's a good strategy to have like in your tool belt. That works in a lot of situations, but especially if the error message is kind of crap. Okay, good. Yeah, Phil. Yes. Okay, so how we got it to work in pSQL? The first thing we had to do was open up pSQL. So let me close that. I'll open up a new window. I had a screen like this. I then wrote the name of the database that I was trying to connect in here. And then when it was written and I was confident I'd spelled it correctly, which is almost never, then I hit connect and I was in.
So I guess I'm having an issue. I have some users, but it's not populated. Like in the user field.
It's not populated in the users field.
I have nothing there. Like if you put your users, you have actual.
So, okay.
But I don't have.
Did you successfully insert into your users table from your SQL file?
saw it on the terminal in VS Code.
Oh yeah. Weird. I will come over there in a minute and look into that. Huh. I'm sure for now. I'll look more into that with you. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So from now to lunch, it'd be great if you guys did the SQL Bolt from past 12 onwards. So that's what you creating tables, updating, and deleting from tables, which are all good things to be able to do.